So this is really more about simple, kind of quick, easy demonstrations that require very little more than a table and a product and your own innovation and insight and creativity. So that's what we're going to try and talk about today. And we're just going to go step by step through the process. But before we get started, I'd like to just go around the table, and Linda will start with you. If you would just kind of introduce yourself, tell us very briefly about your store, and then we'll get started. So, Linda, tell us.
Linda Wofford. I'm from Jonesboro, Arkansas. The name of our store is The Everyday Chef, and it is new. We opened in September of this last year. Had a very good holiday season. I was owner of a store previously in Jonesboro that's still in business, so I won't call their name, but I sold out, went into our family business to run it, so which is engines, if you can imagine that. And so I told my husband when I started, I said, I know Cuisinart and I know KitchenAid and I know this and that, but I don't know an engine from anything. It's been fun for about 13, 14 years, and so now I'm back to living what my dream is. So we're a gourmet, kitchen shop with everything for the kitchen and dining. So.
Dean? My name is Dean Eaton. I own Your Kitchen store in Keene, New Hampshire. I've been in business 21 years. Most of that was in a 1,700 or 1,800 square foot space. 3 years ago, we moved into 5,500 square feet, which is amazing.
I'm Sue Papach from Wilmington, North Carolina, and my business is So Sweet Chocolates, and I have been in business since 1998 with an online presence, and I just recently opened two shops actually in the Wilmington area, and I'm looking to continue with my own product of chocolates, but expand the gourmet and housewares and maybe go into a little bit of the botanical end as well.
My name's Diana Sakland. We opened our store in Cary, North Carolina.
Yeah, we're like that too.
We opened our store in Cary in September of this past year, and we also had a fabulous Christmas season, and we're keeping the ball rolling.
Sarah from the Garlic Press in the distinguished town of Normal, Illinois. We're a Twin City. Right in the middle of Illinois. We have the national headquarters for State Farm, so that's kind of our reliable customer base. It's always there, and 2 universities. And we've been in business for approximately 38 years. I'm not that old, but it's a family business, and I grew up in that business. My mother really should be sitting right next to me right now. And we started as a kitchen store strictly back when Cuisinart was new. And Chicago cutlery was the big thing. And Helen Chen and Joyce Chen, as we discussed last night. So, but we've diversified immensely since that time. We've seen other kitchen stores drop away, and we're actually sell quite a lot of gift, clothing, jewelry, toys, kids. And crazily enough, about 9 years ago, we opened a cafe, pushed open a wall and opened a cafe as well, just to complicate my life. But
I'm Terry Monroe with Murphy's Department Store in Stillwater, Oklahoma. The store has been in its present location since 1926. We've owned it for the last 35 years. It started as a hardware store, probably the oldest regular retail store in Stillwater currently. We do primarily housewares would be our largest line. We also do tabletop, gifts, baby and child, that type of thing.
I'm Beverly Horak from Waxahachie, Texas, which is about 35 miles south of here. We have a feed store that has been in business probably 40 years, and in August we decided to open a kitchen store. So our 2 stores are directly across the street from each other. And the new store is in an old railroad depot, and that's where we got our name, SoCo Depot.
Hi, I'm Jim Hill from Boston. I came to retailing. I'm a corporate retread. I didn't come from retailing. I had some sales and marketing experience along the way, but we came to retailing not in the kitchenwares business. 8 years ago, we bought an old, small gift shop on Beacon Hill in Boston, and we got into it. And it worked. We had fun. My wife and I were in this together. but we always wanted to be closer to the food and kitchen business. So where we had the opportunity, there was a kitchen store, some of you are familiar with, on Newbury Street for many, many years, the Mack family. And they decided to leave the business. The son closed it up. And it was still a good idea, left a hole in the market. We jumped in. And that's been 4 years now in the KitchenWares business. But it came from a passion that we had because it's something we enjoyed. Because if you follow things like when you go on vacation, what are the shops you like to go into? If you're always going into seashell shops on your coastal vacations, and every time you see a seashell shop you get excited, maybe you want to follow that. And we did that in KitchenWares.
So let's talk a little bit about demonstrations. You can't have a demonstration without a product. And so I'd like to just kind of go around and we'll just start over here again. What makes a product a good candidate for a demonstration? If you think of, and if you have an example of a product that you can think of, share that with us. And then what makes a product a demonstrable product?
Ease of use probably is the first thing that comes to my mind. We actually did a Huron demonstration during the holidays, and our rep came up and did the demonstration. So you had fruits and vegetables, and it was very versatile because you could do a smoothie or you could do juicing. So it was really easy, and it was hands-on, and we let customers actually take parts and pieces off, and it makes that level of comfort for using a product, and that's what you want. I mean, a demo to me is to make someone comfortable using a product so that they don't buy it and go home and put it on a shelf.
To me, any product that does more than just sit there and look pretty is demonstrable. So whether it's a waffle maker or a peeler or whatever, we do have the benefit of having a kitchen where we can set stuff up, but we've also set up little small tables or longer tables in the store right near where products are actually used. Last week we had our first ever, and we'll do this again because it was successful, gadget play day. And we just lined up a whole series of gadgets, choppers and peelers and egg yolk separator, a couple of others, and just the grocery investment is very small, but when people can actually use them and play with them, it just makes a huge difference. And I think we've all found probably at the trade shows where we see this product and we go, oh wow, and we buy it, but if it sits on the shelf, suddenly you realize that really it was the demonstration that sold it to you in the first place at the trade show, you as a retailer.
I can speak about my chocolates because that is our mainstay. Packaging is very, very important to begin with, and it catches the eyes, but there's so many different kinds that you have to, I found that you have to scale it back and just kind of go, if they don't taste it, packaging is worthless because they'll never come back for it again. So I love to introduce new products all the time, but I will always, always have a tasting right along with that. And I find that the more people that try my product, because of its packaging, will come back and do it as gifts and then purchase it. I've also found that I have people just coming back to purchase it for themselves. So that's been a good plus for us.
Diana, what's your experience?
I would say the products that are best demo for us are the ones that wow the customers when you show them how to use it, but wouldn't necessarily wow without the demo. And the first thing that jumps into my mind, and I think you're all going to agree, is the Shells by Anson. I mean, they're pretty to look at, they're interesting, people look at them and go, okay. But if they don't know the product and you put it on a bowl and you lift that bowl up off and they're like, wow, right? And that sells it. They're going to walk out with 2 or 3.
Several things already said, I agree with that. One of the main sources for us in figuring out demos are things that we do see at the house fair show. And in particular, I will say what comes to mind for me is OXO, good grips. When they always have a little section with their latest and greatest. It's colorful and show high volume while you're demonstrating it. But definitely it's what's new and innovative, things I haven't seen before. What is simple and easy to do, I would agree with that as well.
Well, I think we back into doing a lot of demos because we buy stuff that's new and exciting to us, and it won't sell to the customer because they don't understand it, they haven't seen it before, it's unfamiliar. So the Keurig machine, I think, was a good example of that. When we first got it, a customer wasn't sure, you know, do they want to buy these little specialized things that they have to get from Keurig in order to operate it? Can they actually do it? So that was a pretty easy demonstration, but it gave people confidence that they could do it. Now, I think for us, the sous vide is very similar. Our customers have no idea what a sous vide machine might do, how you might operate it, what the food might taste like if you used it. So it's things, I think, that they don't have the confidence to work with without some kind of demonstration are the things that work best for us.
That's great.
Well, I will echo what Diana said. That's one of the best ones that we have. And we have a bowl by our counter with that lid on it, and people that haven't seen it. And if you see the packaging, it's beautiful. And it's a pretty product, but to see it on the bowl using it is the best way to sell it. The other thing I can think of would be a ceramic knife. We keep a ceramic knife and a cutting board and a potato behind the counter, and our display of knives is fairly close to our sales counter, and we can just, if somebody's not seen them before, just get a potato out and slice into it, and we sell a lot of those just from doing that little demo. It's simple and very inexpensive.
I would pick up on the cutlery. Cutlery is an important department for us, and it's like, how do you demonstrate knives? Because people use them every day. They know what they are. They've been around for thousands of years, and they have no moving parts. And what we find is that it's part of it educating more than demonstrating how to use a knife, how to choose a knife. But the part where the demo comes in, the most demonstrated single item in our store is a honing steel. We all have one. It sits in the lock. Some of us use it. I think we use it as frequently as we floss our teeth. And then I show them once and then put it in their hands. And you see some real awkwardness and you try and work them through it. But it's, for us, the success to selling them better quality knives is to maintain them so they view it as an effective tool and they know how to care for it.
When you do a demonstration, you expect to get some kind of a lift, I would assume, from your sales. And I'll just again put this out to the table. How do you prepare from an inventory standpoint when you're planning to do a demonstration? What do you do in terms of inventory? I mean, I know the classic, right? We all talk about in the industry, one to show, one to go. Well, if that one goes, what do you do? So let me just throw it out and ask, kind of just, how do you inventory? How many extra do you generally try to order when you know you're planning a significant demonstration, as opposed to something that, I mean, I know like cutlery, you have it there all the time in the potato, but if there's something that you're planning a demonstration, you're going to promote a demonstration, how do you prepare for that from an inventory standpoint?
I think if you got one to show and one to go, you're not going to demonstrate it. It's as simple as that. And we have the advantage of having a section of food as well. And frequently we've got this end cap of dips, and we frequently put out a dip or two dips on a day, and people always buy ones. There's like 20, 25 to choose from, but they buy what we demo. So I don't demo, so I don't make the dip unless I know I've got ample stock. Maybe other stuff that I'm low on stock on, and they may or may not buy it, but they will always buy the ones that we demo. So yeah, if you're low on inventory, you don't demo it.
Well, in fact, I was going to say there's new innovative products. Like, oh, great, I want to do that. People do that so great. But the other impetus to demos is, oh my goodness, I now have 50 of these things and they're not going. And so there's the cause and effect. The cause is either because it's not selling or because it's new. And that happens, and it certainly matters too on price point. Dips, and we have foods as well. You're able to have a lot more of that item. It depends on the, and it's hard. It's a little crystal ball. But if I'm going to demonstrate a Jura espresso machine, I'm not sitting on a huge inventory of that. So it really depends on the item, I think.
Tim?
Well, we kind of visualize, I think, what it would take to have a successful sale. It kind of depends on the product. Maybe some things, demonstrating a KitchenAid mixer, 4 or 5 sales would be good enough. cheaper products we might order several cases of or something if we thought we would get through them. But I think we kind of know from price range and that type of thing about how many we might be able to sell, and we gear up to have at least as many as we think that we'd sell under the best circumstances is kind of what we do, and we do get wrong.
It's something similar. I also like, how do you're doing a demo, you hope to sell them all. And ask yourself the question, what if I don't? What if it rains then? Whatever. That you don't sell what you expected. What's your fallback plan? And that gets down to the inventory. You say, well, if we sold 0 on the demo, and if it was a total flop for whatever reason, on a good product, how long is it going to take me to burn through that inventory? And if you can burn through it in the next 3 to 6 months, you have almost 0 risk. You say, we sell 50 of these a quarter. We're having a demo. Buy 50 or 75, because even if it doesn't sell well enough, you're going to burn through it, you're not going to have to hold it for a year.
Perfect segue to what I wanted to talk about, which is another part of preparation for a demo. And again, I'm kind of distinguishing between the demos that you kind of do on the fly and setting something out, and something that's kind of a prepared, planned event. How do you promote it? How do you let customers know, hey, we're doing something cool in the store today, and you really need to know about this, and we really want to let you know. And so we're going to start right over here, because I'm starting with you and I'm editing on you. Jim, we're going to start with him, we're going to come right on the table. How do you prepare, announce, promote, get the word out about your event?
2 things. Timeline, and then a planned schedule for making noise. Noise to get attention, to cause people to take some kind of action. The timeline is always for someone saying, we got a great idea. You don't have a cookbook signing. Local author writes a cookbook, a local school runs a compendium. If you say, can we do this next week? The artist is going to be, I'm sorry, we'd love to have you, but we can't do it on 10 days notice because we don't have enough time to get ready and make enough noise to really make this successful. 6 weeks is what works for us. We say if we have 6 weeks, we could pull off anything in 6 weeks and make an appropriate amount of noise to get people to come in. They won't do it. You can't do that to them every day, but you can do it to them for a special event. So you have a plan and you say, okay, Monday morning, early, so it's at the top of their inbox because they read their email at work, not at home. Monday morning we hit them. We hit them 2 days before the event. We hit them the day of the event or on a Friday morning before a weekend. And we start that a month in advance. And you just kind of build up to it so it has some kind of a crescendo. And it creates an anticipation. It gives you many, many hints as to what's happening, and it gets more intense as you get closer. And we find that pattern, and doing it over a period of 6 weeks, works for the audience we're trying to reach.
So we promoted it along with our opening probably about, I guess, a month before.
How did you
do
that? What was your method?
Facebook, newspaper, a local magazine. So those were the main outlets for us to promote that. We didn't really have a customer base prior to that, so we were just building it.
Got to start somewhere. Terry?
We have a rewards program that we've had in place for about 15 years or so. About 65 to 75% of our total sales come through that rewards program. Our customers tell us that they're members, and we give them, credit points and so forth. In connection with that, we send out 2 emails a week. So we've got 2 kind of different emails, one that comes out on Tuesday and one that comes out on Friday. So if we hit a demonstration 3 or 4 times in that email, we will get to over 50% of our customers. We also can do some radio advertising. We can run down over to the radio station. It takes 5 minutes, and we've got a new thing, and they will change it as often. So we can mention demonstrations in our radio advertising. We do TV advertising, but the time cycle is too long. We can't afford to change ads that quickly. So basically, email would be the thing that we do. We reach about 3,500 customers with each email, and then the radio advertising.
Great. Sarah?
Again, we do a newsletter, and once a quarter, and that's the our biggest, and has been and continues to be our biggest hit. Everyone loves that newsletter, so I have to be thinking ahead. It's like writing a term paper. And I thought, okay, this is going to hit here and here. I've got these 3 months I'm covering, and I'm trying to, I'm strategizing and mapping that out on my calendar for those demos, or book signings, or local chef coming to demo. And then, and like I said, there's smaller demos in between to keep the store exciting. And we too have a cooking class, kitchen, and a counter to facilitate some of those. But definitely Facebook is used. We do a daily Facebook post with our cafe and our menu. So I do need to get better. I do want to include more things in that. And I'm also, I haven't got experience with Pinterest, but I'd like to do that. But we do some radio as well. And I will say too, because I'm a talker and I'm not shy, I use my voice. I often write the radio spots and do my voice, and so my customers in our community are familiar with me and oh, that's Sarah on the radio. So they just hear my voice and they know it's Garlic Press comes to mind. But I use all of those. I do use our local newspaper, though it is becoming a bit of an old elephant, but I'm a newspaper girl at heart because I come from an academic family. But Facebook, email, Facebook and email are a big one for those.
But you also have...
The way we've gotten our information out is mainly through the Choice Monthly newsletter that we send out on a regular basis. But even more effective, I think, than that is the Facebook pages, Facebook push we put out when we're doing a demo. And it can be something that we just kind of do on the fly, and we can add it to Facebook that way. And also Twitter has been really good for us for things that we do on the fly. We've connected with a lot of the local bloggers, so they'll pick up on it, and it just becomes, it snowballs, right? I think social media is really the ultimate word-of-mouth advertising for us. And then in addition to that, we also will set up in-store displays of demos that we have coming up, or book signing that we have coming up. We put it right there by our cash wrap, and the gals checking people out can just chat people up about it. Another word of mouth.
I have to agree with Sarah on so many of her points as well as Diana, because just being in the community, being out there, reaching out, word of mouth, FaceTime is so important for what you're doing to get the word out about your demo. Building a rapport with a local print media. I know the internet is fabulous for getting things out there, but I have also established a great rapport with a print media that also has a weekly e-blog that they send out. So when you build a rapport with the print media, and that's where you're spending some money on putting it into print, they are more apt to put you into their weekly thing that they're doing, because it's very exciting for them to say, I've had this product, I think it's great, they're doing a demo, go and visit, go and see them. And the print media that seems to work really well for us is it's a free magazine that is in all the grocery stores, higher-end grocery stores, and boutiques. I don't know if every community has that, but being in the coastal community, we have that because it's very touristy, so there's a lot of realtors, which has also become a huge thing for my business, because we have reached out to a lot of the realtors in the area, and as far as gift bags and things like that, we've developed certain specific items like chocolate keys and different things like that that work in that regard. Then that in turn spurs things like being involved in wedding shows, and where you're just getting the word out, and then it allows you to have some FaceTime with different holidays and events and things, and try to gear it toward that and have a lot of holiday things too. So I like the print media. I am old school, and I think people like to have it in their hands, and they like to touch it and look at it, and they also, it's something that they're going to keep around and they can peruse as time goes on. So I appreciate the print media. I think that works real well for us.
We appreciate the print media too.
Social media is very good. I'm reaching the age of being a diner, so and if I didn't hire a very capable 20-something in my store, we wouldn't be doing Facebook, and I wouldn't have a Facebook account. But Facebook works very well for us. Email, we have very high open rate on our emails. We're careful not to send them too often, so that it's spam, although we did get an email recently from somebody that said, instead of removing me from your mailing list, said stop effing emailing me. So we need them one more time to thank them. But we do have a very high open rate. We just don't do it often, and we try to use titles that are effective. Instead of saying gadget demo, using gadget play day, words like that. Instead of saying we will show you this, we say you can try this. We make it about them instead of about us, things like that. Bag stuffers are very effective and very uncostly. Counter every single bag, whatever the event is. It depends on the event, how big of an event it is. If you have time to advertise it, if it's big enough that you really want it on the radio or in the print, because we do both of those. For gadget weekend play day, that was something we did in an email and a bag stuffer. But if we're having a very high-end chef or a book signing or something, we tend to give it more lead time and do it on the radio. Using the owner's voice is huge. It worked for Lee Iacocca at Chrysler, and Dave Thomas at Wendy's, and Jim Purdue at Purdue.
Those were my idols.
Sarah.
My speech coach was
yeah. And I walked to a grocery store, talk to my wife, and somebody will turn around and say, "Good guy on the radio." So that's very effective. That's something.
Okay, so those are also lots of notes for upcoming things. One of the things we do and started doing when we opened was to try to get folks to give us their email address. By saying that when we have cooking classes or if we have demos or special events, we're not going to market their email list or anything, but we will give them an email blast. So that's been very successful for us. We send them an opening thank you for coming in email. That's our first one. Hopefully it will be our last one. And then we email, and that has been really a great trigger because they know that we're going to have classes, so everyone's interested in that. But for the demos, if we see someone looking at a product more than a few minutes and they show some interest in it, then we're going to put that on the list of things to demo. One of the most unique things we did, and you probably have it in your area as well, we actually did a commercial that plays at the theater. So it plays all 16 screens, every movie, 5 minutes before the previews start. Within that 30-second commercial are 3 vignettes, which we can change. So I have a marketing person who will go in, and if I'm going to have a demo, then that's something I'm going to change out. So huge audience. Does take a little monitoring to make sure that they're actually playing it when they're supposed to. And we've kind of caught them a couple of times not doing that. But that has been, for us, a big way to introduce our store since we're new.
We're on it every single day. And we do a lot of, today is National Ice Cream Day. How do you make ice cream? Try to make it interactive. What's your favorite ice cream flavor, or whatever the day happens to be. And that's what comes to mind. Most recently, it was a National Ice Cream Day. But every day is a National Hot Roast Day, National Prawn Day. There's tons and tons of stuff to choose from. Occasionally, we may put a recipe of our own in, but we'll ask the people to, and then they do. They start a conversation about what they like and what they do. Video, besides pictures, is, Charles Ganson comes to mind again. They've got a great video that you can take off their website and put onto your Facebook. So recipes that show the product, videos, and interaction.
All right, so we decided what our product is. We figured out what that perfect thing is we're going to demonstrate. We set our timeline. We promoted it out in advance. We have a crowd coming to the store. It's the day of the event. Tell me how you're setting up for that demonstration. Where is it going in the store? What's the best place? And I know some things you're going to do just kind of in line, but let's talk about a larger kind of demonstration that you're trying to create something, some excitement. And we're going to start right over here with Linda again, just because I'm looking at you.
Okay.
But the day of the event, tell us how you're going to set up for that demo, where you're going to pick the right spot, how you're going to accessorize, what are you doing that day to really make it a success?
When we did our demonstration, we also have a function kitchen that we partnered with a kitchen store they put in a fabulous kitchen. So we have lots of things in the kitchen that we can use to our benefit. But the Huron, because we needed sinks and faucets and whatnot, was perfect for that area. We have a refrigerator freezer right behind the area, so she was able to just pull open the refrigerator door or the freezer door, pull out fruits, and have a sink there. So it was really, really a perfect location for that demo.
Dean, what are you doing on the day of the event to maximize the success?
Customers will help you too. Some of our products are going to go right where the product is. You know, the dips right next to where the dips are. Or if we demonstrate a coffee machine, we have that bar of electric outlets right behind all of those coffee machines that are on the shelf, so that we can demonstrate any one of them at any given time. Most often we're that in our kitchen because we have that. With dips, I used to put out pretzels and simple white crackers. And customers said one day, "I can't try this dip because I have gluten issues." So then we put out little tasting spoons. Little details like that, your customers will help you with along the way.
Little things. Sue?
I think the day of demo thing is, when I do a demo, it's mostly geared toward a holiday. So upcoming now, my thoughts are going crazy with Valentine's. So we try to gear our whole display with reds and pinks. And then we're throwing in a little coastal hot pink in color. So color is huge on day of demo. We will wear color, which will draw the people to the product. And then the creation of the packaging for that event, for that demo, will be all very much geared toward that. And we will also have it like extended out. So it will be tablecloths, aprons, all of those things. And then the upsell products that we incorporate for that will also be geared towards, say you have plates or spatulas, things like that. They would all be geared toward that specific color. So it's just a real eye-catching thing for that day. So that's what we do for our demos.
Diane?
Well, during the couple of major events we've had since we opened, one being our grand opening and the other being a Made in the USA event, we've had multiple demos going on at the same time. Obviously in our kitchen, which in our store is in the back of the store, but you have a direct view of it from the front. We have something going on that's eye-catching, but then we've had demonstration stations around the store as well to kind of drive traffic all the way through the store. So they're not just going directly to the kitchen and not looking at anything along the way. They're like, oh, there's something going on here too, and there's something going on here too. So it keeps them circulating the traffic.
Just because you just said that, it reminds me that we have an open house. We have different open houses. That's what we call the Midwest. And before Thanksgiving, October, in that area. And this year we had mistakenly, but it turned out to be great, we had scheduled a cooking class on the same day. And we were like, what are we? Oh, geez. And we normally use that kitchen counter for major display and sampling. We ended up having that cooking class and then moved all of these different demo and sampling stations throughout our store, which we've done a little, but that kind of forced us to have to do it, and that did create a real buzz and excitement everywhere they went. They were commenting, and it was notably good, and I'm going to continue to do that, in fact. But the day of, I mean, you're prepping, you're stocking, you're stacking it high, you're making it look lush. An old chocolate rep said, disheveled elegance. Chocolate that? Disheveled elegance. I like it. Something like that. But absolutely, it's about the color and the stacking. Absolutely, it's also about add-on sales. I'm demonstrating this, but you know what? This, and this relates to it. My cutting board that I'm doing my demo on. So of course you're thinking about all the add-on sales that are with that. I'm making sure my entire staff is keyed in on the stock and where it is, and best foot forward.
Terry?
Well, we typically try to do most of our demonstrations toward the front of the store. We have some limitations because our buildings were built in 1919. There's 2 of them that's about 10,000 square feet, so if you get it too far back in the store, it doesn't get usually the same attention. We also kind of need to see if we can draw people into the area where they're going to normally be purchasing. In other words, our gourmet foods are naturally at the front of the store, so that's easy. The coffee department's also pretty close to the front, so if it's a coffee machine or we're demonstrating coffees and so forth, it would be there. On the other hand, if we have a thing like Casabella, the cleaning products and so forth, when Michael came, we actually put in about a 4 by 8 foot section of floor so that he had something to work on and clean, and we put that where the Casabella was going to be, so that once the customer got back there and talked to him, that would be where they would go back to. So we try to keep it in the department, but also try to have it kind of close to the front if possible.
We have done a pressure cooking demo, and we have a kitchen area also, and it's in plain view of the rest of our store, so I feel like if something's going on in there, there's plenty of room for people to come kind of in and out and look and see, even if they weren't signed up to come to this demo. But I think preparation is key, making sure you have ample product to sell, and then, as Sarah pointed out, all the other things you can sell along with it, you know, preparation products. And I noticed that maybe we didn't sell as many pressure cookers as I hoped, but we did sell a lot of the other products that were demoed as well that day. So
we're very constrained. We sell off of 900 square feet. We have 4,500 kitchen items that you all know about. So space is really, really tight for us. So we're forced, we don't have a kitchen. Our aisles are about the width of this table. 40 inches is the narrowest aisle in the space in the store. So we had, how do we do a demo in this really, really tight space? We have to demount our primary display table in front, the one you see first when we come in the door. We take everything out from underneath, and just put the stuff, cram it in the back, and make that, because that's the theater, tiny little theater space up front. So it's right up front. We also take our signboard, it sits out on the sidewalk. We're a very high traffic sidewalk. We put the signboard out, we go, demo today, come on in. Tasting today, come on in. There's something exciting here, come on in. And it's the first thing they see when they get in the store. They cannot possibly miss it. And it actually works because it means that every single person comes in the store. They don't have to go to the back. You say, well, it's nice if they go to the back because they got to walk through all the aisles to see the stuff they might want to buy. But this is really, really in their face kind of demo. It's almost like we do it outdoors if we could.